I'm Bill Auten of Auten Claims Management.
I'm Chantal Roberts of CMR Consulting, and welcome to the Art of Adjusting podcast.
Today, we're going to talk about life as an insurance adjuster from the perspective of property, auto, liability, or workers' compensation adjusters. Our goal is to bring interesting topics in the world of claims adjusting to people who are working as an adjuster now and to people who are considering a career as a claims adjuster.
Surprise!
Hi, how are you?
Oh, we're together.
Live in person.
In person?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so exciting. It's our 100th episode, and we're together.
So we had the idea to meet together, either up where we live or down where she lives, and I'm down here in Kansas, and we're gonna do a live episode together.
Yay!
We're having a lot of fun.
We are
Yeah.
having so much fun, and I got our birthday cake or something, anniversary cake or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I have some iced tea. Cheers.
iced tea. Shalente. Uh-huh. Yes. Woo. Oh my God, we have a live audience.
We have a peanut gallery.
I'm so excited about this. I cannot wait. Okay.
So I don't want to point out the obvious, but there's some
Swag. Swag. I'll have another one of those iced teas, please. We have some swag. I made swag for us.
Yes.
Along with the 100 and fabulous.
Yes. So
thing.
we're gonna have to have some merch for sale at some point here in the near future. So
Absolutely.
bang on our door if you want some merch.
Woo! Okay, so special episode.
Yes. So today we're going to talk a little less about claims and a little more about how we started doing this, why it came to be, and how we met. And because this is like the first time we've ever met in person.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, yay, yes.
Yay, yes.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. So how did we first meet?
Okay, so I always thought that when I was at ARM, I had assigned you a claim to work for us. And we talked it over and we decided that was not the case. I've just imagined it. So I think like the first time we quote met was via LinkedIn, of course. And you had talked about my favorite movie, Double Indemnity. And
Right.
so I printed off Key's speech, framed it for you, and mailed it off to you. So I think
Yes.
that was the first time we actually met.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then I think you were doing a thing on an app called Clubhouse.
Yeah.
And Clubhouse is kind of neat because you have these live open rooms where you can just talk with people about different topics, and people that come across it can pop in the room, ask questions. So that was kind of cool because we got non-insurance people and some insurance people that would come in and strike up a conversation with us. And
That's how we got our very first listener, Brandon. Hi,
right.
Brandon.
Hi, Brandon.
And that was during COVID, and it was kind of like live radio, but without the radio.
Yeah.
So
It was almost like a talk show
yeah, exactly.
format where people didn't call in, but they were just on the app.
hmm
And I don't know how the algorithm of that app worked, but depending on your interests, it would feed you certain things. And it's still out there and still going, but we are not there
Yeah, yeah. It just never ended up really working out for us that much.
Yeah.
It was difficult. It was
It
difficult.
was difficult to build an audience, but and some of the things that we said on there were so very valuable that we had to keep it
We-
recorded
yes.
for posterity. So
And I think they kind of went away. I mean, like your episodes would go away after
Yeah.
so many times. And so, I mean, that's not cool.
No.
So, yeah. So as you know already, I mean, Bill's in New York, I'm in Kansas. So yeah, we had hundreds of conversations. You were doing the Daily Claim
Daily
po-
Claims podcast
podcast.
started in 2022.
Yes.
And the reason I did it is my daughter had expressed interest in becoming an adjuster. So I experimented with maybe doing some training videos or training curriculum, which is a huge other project that nobody has time for.
Right.
Not this guy anyway.
hmm
So what I started doing was I thought, well, I'll just do a small podcast, put it out there. She can reference it and learn from it, and we would go from there. So that's what I did. And then I had you as a guest
Yeah.
with Barry Zelma.
Oh, yeah. hmm
We had
Kevin Quinley, I think.
Kevin Quinley.
Yeah,
So it just started to grow, and then
you got busy,
I got busy.
as one is wont to do.
Yeah,
As one is wont to do. And our first, the Art of Adjusting first like 26 episodes is the Daily Claim, I think.
Daily Claim under the
And,
Daily Claims name.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then you hadn't done anything for I think a month, 2 months, something like that, and you're like, I just have to let it go. And I think that's when you either said, "Can you take over me?" And I said, "Well, no, I don't want to do it because it's really and it is hard talking to yourself,
Yeah.
basically, if you're not like talking with someone like we are." So I said, "Well, we can do it and split the difference."
Split the work.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier when you get to split the work. So
And I suggested that we name this after her book,
my book,
The Art of Adjusting.
The Art of Adjusting.
Yes, which
Yeah.
is a great book, and you should buy it if you haven't already.
Yes,
And if you did, buy one as a gift for someone else.
absolutely. Yes. And then bring it to some kind of group that we're going to be at somewhere in some future time, and I will autograph it for you.
Yes. So that's how we got to be the Art of Adjusting podcast, which
Yep.
is what we are today.
Yay.
And we have had no shortage of things to talk about.
No, because you know us, we're always going to be talking about something, and I think that's our benefit is we can just sit here and chew the fat
Yep.
with one another. So
Yep.
it's been a lot of fun.
Even when someone's wrong.
Uh,
So
That's his wife. She agrees.
I don't think so.
My husband, on the other hand, is not in here so that he doesn't hear anything that I say is wrong because he knows that he would get a divorce. So there you go.
So let's talk about our stories.
Our story.
What is your story?
Oh
So
my
how did
gosh.
you get into the insurance business?
Yeah. So my dad was in the insurance business, and I remember growing up and him taking recorded statements of truck drivers like at 8 p.m. Uh, on a Sunday at 3 p.m. And I remember thinking, oh my God, it's boring. You're boring. Everything about insurance is boring. And I'm never going to get into insurance. And when I went to school, sure enough, I studied radio, TV, film, and French. I was a dual major. And so that got me a lot of places. Woo. So I was in kind of a dead end job. And dad said, look, you've really got the personality to be a claims adjuster. You don't take any flack from anybody. You should give it a whirl. I was living in Dallas at the time, and Liberty Mutual was there. And he goes, I can get you at least an interview. And basically, I got hired right away. And 3 days into my training, I'm still reading the propaganda, that a carrier will give you and everything. And I'm like, this is so cool. I've got money. I can help people when they're, at the worst part of their time. Why are people not lining up for this job? I mean, this is a great job. And you realize, of course, the reason why is because you get yelled at a lot, but I mean, there you go. So that is how I got into claims.
Cool.
You? How did you get in?
Well, we're doing Chantal first.
Oh, we're
I
just
flipped
doing
it
me?
too because you had
Oh.
me first, but we're
Oh.
doing you first. So
I
tell
didn't even do mine. I don't even think there's no page numbers on this.
who made this up.
Who made this?
So
ChatGPT.
how did you become an expert witness?
Okay, so Dad's company sold, and Aaron and I kind of figured, when companies usually get sold, the new company comes in, and they usually fire a lot of the management and everything. So we figured this would be a good time for us to move, to leave, and be somewhere closer to his family. Because, like I think I've said before, Aaron is from Iowa. So we moved up to Kansas. So his kids were still in Arkansas at that time. They've moved since then, but we're 6 hours from Iowa, we're 6 hours from Little Rock, and could go there. I tried being an adjuster because I thought, oh, this would be great. I'm going to be an adjuster. I don't have to manage anybody anymore. Yada, yada, yada. I tried it for 3 months and I could not do it because amazingly, you're doing it all wrong. I don't want to do it that way. You're doing it wrong. And I don't play well with others apparently. I don't know what that's about. So that's when I started being an expert witness so that I could tell everybody, you're doing it wrong.
So is that why expert witness work fascinated you?
No, I don't like being an expert witness, to all truth be told, because I mean, there's always some aspect of a job that you don't like. And I don't mind reviewing the file and writing the report. What I do not like, and I've said this many times, so it's nothing new, is the depositions. I don't understand depositions. I understand being in a courtroom and explaining the facts to the jury. I don't understand being in a room with a bunch of attorneys where I've written my report to such an effect that I've answered all of their questions, so why are you asking me again?
Mm.
It's like, are you stupid? So, and I can't say that, so I struggle.
It may show on your face.
You know what? I am pretty sure it does show on my face because I'm like, you've got to all, and by the way, if y'all are listening, you got to go back to the YouTube to see, because I got decorations. I mean, I went all out for this.
Show them your sash.
I did. I got a sash that says 100 and fabulous. I've got a tiara that says 100 and fabulous. Bill is weird and apparently doesn't like sweets or cake or whatever. And so I'm like, fine, I'm getting myself a cupcake. Since you don't want a piece of pie for our anniversary, but I did decorate and everything, so
Well, there's something I should say too. Happy birthday.
yes. Oh my God. So this is so cool. It's like Kismet or whatever, because this episode is landing on my birthday. Woo! So this is a very special
It
episode.
is.
It's
It is.
100th anniversary for our podcast, and it's my
And
birthday.
don't make the mistake of thinking she's 100 years old. That's not what the tiara is for.
I look so good for 100. Although I am going to live till I'm 100. I already have a plan and I've got an attorney lined up.
Oh,
That's all I'm going to say. It's going to involve an attorney.
one way to extend your life is with a
Woo!
contract.
Yep. 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 Okay. So,
So tell us about this crazy book, The Art of Adjusting.
yeah. So, being an expert witness, I was having a hard time, of course, getting a lot of gigs, probably because I, I don't particularly care for it. And being new, no one wants to hire you when you're new. They only want to hire you when you're experienced. And it's that age-old thing of how can you get experience if you never get hired? So, as every college graduate knows. Anyway, COVID hit, right? And all of the cases that I did have, once everything started to pick up, because finally everything was picking up, and I'm like, yay, finally, COVID hit and all the courts closed. And since we had no idea how long we were going to be out of work or out of court or whatever, naturally we could settle claims via telephone. And that's what the defense counsel and plaintiff counsel did. So don't need me anymore because, we're gonna settle this case. We don't need to depose you. We don't need to bring you into court or whatever. So all of my cases then settled. I was looking at all of the opposing experts and they had all done some teaching. They had all written books as well as articles. And of course, I've written a lot of articles, all available on my website. And so I said, okay, so I'm going to write a book. And I was originally thinking, what I'm going to do is write a textbook that all colleges have to buy and
Oh,
everything. So, like, I'm thinking, right? I'm thinking. And I absolutely hated it. It was absolutely really, really boring. And then I knew I'd have to have all of this, yeah, knowledge that I had, but I'd have to look it up to see where I got it from because it's 25 years of knowledge.
references.
Yeah, so where do you find that stuff? Especially all of the unwritten rules.
Right.
Like how everybody tells you, oh, answer your emails all in the morning so you can get it just up and out of your way or whatever. Do it right before you leave or, some of these unwritten rules. And so that's what I decided to make the book about, more of a intermediate book because there's books for beginners. Those are great through the institutes. Do the institutes. Get that. Get your CPCU, your AIC, all of that. And then there's really advanced books, which you could go through college and do, but there was nothing in the intermediate space, like 5 to 10 to 15 years, somewhere around there. So that's what I decided I would try to gear myself for in that instance. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you wrote another book.
And then I wrote another book because I'm an overachiever. And then B, I I wanted the art of adjusting to be good, right? And so
Mission accomplished, by the way.
thank you. Thank you. It's like where are my roses? I feel like I should have a rose, like yeah. By the way, at Chateau Chantal, where we have the French room, which is where Bill and his lovely bride are staying, I've put flowers in there so you could have the full French experience.
Thank you.
Anyway, so I hired an editor because I wanted the art of adjusting to look professional. And I knew that I wouldn't be able to basically get a book deal because I mean who wants to publish books on insurance? I mean
Right.
like none of the traditional five or the big five or whatever are gonna publish this book. So I hired an editor and I deliberately picked someone who didn't know anything about insurance.
Good choice.
Yeah, so because I decided, if she doesn't know anything about insurance and if she doesn't understand what I'm saying, then maybe an adjuster might not understand what I'm saying. And I'm just going to assume that they are, but I don't know. So it was she who came back and said, do normal people know about this? And I said, if the adjuster is doing their job right by
Is she
reading my
presuming,
book,
is she presuming we're abnormal?
I, I don't know. No, I think she means consumers,
Got it.
like claimants.
Non-insurance people,
Yeah, like claimants,
lay people.
lay people, consumers. So she, because she would be, do consumers know this? Do consumers know that this, and this, you're supposed to be doing this, and this? And I said, well, again, if the adjuster's doing their job right, yes. And if they read my book, of course so. So she suggested that I write a book for consumers. And that was Once Upon a Claim, but it started off being the art of adjusting for consumers. And I wrote maybe 5, 6 chapters for the consumer art of adjusting, and I absolutely hated it.
Mm.
I thought it was preachy and condescending and everything. And I was like, I didn't even like writing it. I didn't like reading it. And you know me, I can talk about insurance all day long. And I hated it. And it occurred to me the way that we remember things throughout history, any culture, any history, religions, everything, we remember things by stories. Like, don't get in the candy van because we know what happens to Hansel and Gretel when they got into the candy van, right? Don't go home with strangers. Don't go into people's homes. We know what happened to Goldilocks when she went into a stranger's home, right? And beware of strangers because they have big teeth and big ears and big eyes. And so it occurred to me that we remember stories and we remember these rules.
Mhm.
And we could take insurance rules and apply them to our fairy tales, our fables, our nursery rhymes, and all of that. And the moral of the story would be what is insurance related. And then halfway through that, as I am wont to do, I got bored. So then I started changing things. Like Rumpelstiltskin is all a film noir movie, basically. And Baba Black Sheep, I think I have a car crash in it, or I don't even remember. So yeah, that's how we did it.
So that's Once Upon a Claim,
Once
and
upon a claim.
you should check it out because it ties these nursery rhymes into insurance related concepts and stories, and it makes it a little more fun.
Yeah. I
And
think
my
it's
mother-in-law, who's in her 80s, even likes it.
oh, that's a very good, that's a nice thing.
She
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah.
It's illustrated.
It is, yes, because I was talking to my husband too, because again, I wanted the full fairy tale kind of experience. And so I wanted to get it illustrated. And this was first right when AI was coming out and it still wasn't very good at illustrating. So, you'd get the six fingers and the five hands and all of this kind of stuff. And my husband, I had a virtual assistant because you have virtual assistants and you had referred me over to some. And I had a virtual assistant and I contacted her and I'm like, I need an illustrator because my husband goes, why don't you try, looking in the Philippines where your virtual assistant lives? Because in America, to get just like 10 illustrations is $3,000. And I'm like, yeah, I have a total of $3,000. And so her son, ironically, was going through art school. And I hired him to do the majority of the illustrations. So,
And I'll put a link to the resource that we have for offshore help,
yeah,
and you can check that
so
out.
good. I've referred my virtual assistant over to like five different people. She's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a good team too
Hmm.
over at ACM.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, what excites you and what worries you about the industry?
I am hearing more and more for excitement. I'm hearing more and more about how people are coming in to insurance, which is great, and I think that's a good thing. However, I also hear that what they're not doing is coming into claims. And I think the thing that worries me is this idea, and I kind of wrote a white paper on it, and I mentioned it, but didn't really expound upon it more because the white paper was focusing on other things, is that these companies are using AI to handle the easy quote unquote claims. So if AI is doing all of the easy claims and handling all of those, where do our new adjusters cut their teeth? And because you can't just give a new adjuster a medium complexity file. They're going to be way over their heads, right? That's okay.
I keep
He's
moving my
playing
legs.
he's playing footsie with
I can't hold
me.
my leg anymore. It's
Eh,
gonna.
No, go ahead. You can play footsie with me. I don't care. My husband's upstairs. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Fine. Anyway, um, and his wife's right here, so it's fine. It's good. We've got a chaperone.
Yes.
Anyway, so what I am excited about though. Oh, look at him. Oh, he's blushing. Oh, he's so cute.
So
Oh,
what do we?
you
What
know,
excites
so
you? And
what
what
is
worries
exciting
you?
about you is like get start getting back on topic, damn it. So yeah, but what excites me is that more people are getting interested in insurance. They want to be in insurance. I just want them to be in claims more because I think claims is and I said this in the white paper, it's like where the promise is kept. This is why people get insurance is to have their covered claims paid. And the only people who can do that are insurance adjusters, not the underwriters, not the agents, not any of that. So, um, if, and also, I really do think if we had more claims adjusters, we all wouldn't be so stressed. We could answer those phone calls. We could talk to the insureds and explain the process so that insureds aren't constantly mad at us and yelling at us.
I think that's it. If we had more adjusters
Trained,
who were better trained,
yes.
the public would be more educated
Hmm.
about the claims process,
Hmm.
and they wouldn't feel like they were ignored in the process. Um,
Because their
they,
emails would be answered.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, I've seen scenarios where newer adjusters don't really know the answers to questions that the policyholder has,
Mhm.
and when they don't have the answer, the policyholder feels let down or
They
left in the lurch.
they lose trust
Yes, they lose trust. That's the
because
biggest thing.
they're sitting there thinking, what kind of professional are you? if you can't answer this question.
Right.
And guys, I do want to tell you some of the best things that I have done as an adjuster would be to say, I don't know. And Bill and I talk about this all the time. If we get into a subject where we just literally we don't know the answer, we will say we don't know. And then for you to email us, tag us, put a comment in there, troll us, whatever. We're still looking for more trolls, by the way. Um, and let us know. And I think when you say, I don't know, but I'm going to look up that answer for you and I'm going to call you by 4 p.m. today. And of course, put in a note in your calendar so that it dings, so that because you'll get busy and you'll forget, and then you'll erode that trust again. But I think that's like the best thing you can do is to go, you know what, I don't know, but let me look it up for you and I'll get right back to you.
There's always going to be scenarios that you run into where
Mm.
something is new. And
Yeah,
that's kind of the fun part about the job is that
yeah,
there's always some weird thing that happens that you've never been exposed to before.
absolutely.
About 2 years ago, we had a chemical spill, destroyed this building, and I I was asked, oh, so what do you guys allow for cleanup in a situation like this? Oh, when a hydrogen peroxide tank blows up, you mean? Oh, let me
No.
look, let me look in the manual. So there is no manual for that.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to learn as you go. And, but telling them that, look, I don't really know, but we'll find out and we'll get through this together. And we did.
Yeah,
And we settled that claim. So
absolutely.
that's what you got to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So, AI, how is that changing the industry?
I hear a lot of things. One of the latest things that I've heard is that all of the insurers who have jumped onto the AI bandwagon really, really soon realized it didn't work out as well as they thought it would. And they're like, oh crap, we've spent all this money and now it's not working. Um, but I think that they're still really trying to force a square peg in a round hole with AI. You hear about State Farm, for example, requiring a lot of their agents to use AI now so that they can develop more personal relationships with people. Yeah, I personally don't want to speak to AI. I would rather speak to a person.
Right.
Now I love me some Chat GPT, don't get me wrong. It's the only person who will laugh at my insurance jokes. But I don't want it to do things for me that way. So I think um, that is a problem. And like I said, when AI is coming through and being an adjuster, or they think that like some of the C-suite, I wrote about this in the white paper, where the C-suite, for example, will believe that, oh, we can just use AI to do some of the administrative tasks of the adjuster, such as sending out a letter, the 30-day letter, right? That we all have to send out. The issue is that the adjuster still has to sign off on that letter. And some states are coming down and saying AI can't adjust. AI is not a person. It can't get an insurance adjusting license. So the adjuster has to adjust. Companies are like, that's fine. I mean, the AI can write the letter and then the adjuster signs the letter. But if you're so overworked because the company is cutting jobs and laying off adjusters so that you're now doing the work of three other people and you're having to review what AI is coming out with, and it may be AI slop. I don't know. It may be, it may not be. I don't know. That is what I worry about with AI changing, adjusting, is that it will compound our issues like Colossus once did,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
it's the problem it has is it has the same effect on human beings like you and me as it has that same effect on industries. And I think the people who run those industries saw AI, listened to it, and thought, wow, this sounds like a human. And they tried to push it and they said,
Yeah.
whoa, this is really like a human. And the harder, but when you really push it and really listen to what's coming back,
Mm-hmm.
you realize it makes mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a human,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not something that should be substituted for human beings. And human beings who are making decisions, the important decisions in running the business, particularly in claims,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
people's lives are affected by that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So,
So,
what about you?
what about me?
Yeah. We're going to start with how did you get into insurance?
Oh yeah. So I was a carpenter in the construction business, and I dated a young lady whose father was a manager of a claims operation called Crawford and Company. And he said, "You know what, Bill? You're a pretty smart guy. You know a lot about buildings.
Mm-hmm.
You should become a claims adjuster." And I said, "Okay, what's a claims adjuster?" And so I spent a couple years looking for a job as an adjuster, and I didn't have any experience as an adjuster, so I was turned down a lot, but I kept trying. And it was in the days when you didn't have Indeed.com.
Mm.
You had to look at newspaper ads for job listings, and
Mm-hmm.
eventually I wound up going to work for his competitor. So I
So
became a
that made it awkward for Thanksgiving.
yeah. Um, so I worked for Lindsay Morden, and that was a large independent adjusting firm, and I did that for about 5 years. And I went to a carrier, and then back to the independent side for a little bit, and then landed at Ontario Insurance Company and managed their claims department for 10 years before going back out on my own and starting ACM,
Mm-hmm.
which is where we are now.
Yay. Yay.
Yeah.
So, uh, I'm surprised that you had a hard time getting to be hired as an adjuster because usually we have such a dearth of adjusters that, you know, everybody can be hired. But I think that the deal is that the first part that gets a hiring freeze is the adjusting, the claims department.
Yeah, so the positions I was interviewing for were they were all looking for somebody with at least 5 years of experience,
Yeah,
which I didn't have.
yeah.
And again, it was a I could only cast a net that was,
So wide.
so wide.
Yeah.
Being in Buffalo, New York, there's not a whole lot of carriers headquartered there. There were at the time probably 5 or 6 independent firms, and I didn't apply to any of those except Lindsay Morgan. So, um, and I think your odds of getting hired without experience might be better with an independent than with a carrier.
Yeah, and we
Um,
talked about that last week with, do you start off with the company, or do you start off, or like being a multi-line adjuster,
right.
going independent, or do you start off with kind of like a monoline being with the company?
Yeah, and multi-line I still think is the best route to go when you start out if you can.
Mm,
And if you have to be a single line adjuster, try to make an effort to become multi-line at some point in
absolutely.
your career just so that you have exposure because you may like a different line of business. Like I started out, I was hired to be a property guy.
Right.
Within a month, they made me multi-line. And today I run an independent adjusting firm that only handles liability claims.
Yeah.
So
So what about ACM? That must have been a little scary going off to on your own and everything.
yeah, it was.
I think it is kind of scary. A lot of people don't realize how scary it is to start off your own business.
Yeah. So um, I had been listening to a lot of podcasts about independent adjusting, and I realized that the folks that were being successful were doing so with just a fraction of the experience that I had. So I knew that I could go out there and make a go of it. So I did, and I started out really just handling. Well, I first started doing a catastrophe claim with Hurricane Harvey,
Mm,
and then Irma hit.
mm-hmm.
So I did that. And then I did property for about a year and a half, 2 years, and then took over a friend's liability business and changed the name. And we've been rocking and rolling ever since. And now we've got me and 3 other adjusters,
Seems great.
and we're covering pretty much all of New York State right now
Yeah, and
and doing a lot of good stuff.
you need like a half of an adjuster.
I need, I,
So,
yeah,
if you're a half of a person, come on down.
that's a dynamic thing. Sometimes I
Yeah.
need a half of adjuster, sometimes I need a whole one.
Yeah.
We're really getting to the point where we need another body,
Well,
but
that's great. That's congratulations.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
yeah. I
Yeah.
used to have hair.
Ah, yeah, I know. So, what would you say are the biggest lessons that you've learned, either as an adjuster or as an entrepreneur?
Hmm. So, biggest lessons I've learned, I'll say as an entrepreneur, the lessons I've learned as an adjuster would fill a book.
Yeah.
So I can't really pinpoint anything in particular. I guess if there's one thing, it's to build trust.
Yeah.
To build trust with your policyholders, with the people you report to,
Mm, mm.
and with claimants.
We talked about
Even if you've got bad news for them,
that. Hmm.
make sure they understand why you're delivering that bad news. It's not because you're a hateful person. It's not because you don't like their cologne. It's
Right.
that there's just a reason, either legal or contractual, that you had to make the decision that you did. And if you can articulate that, that's going to be the best skill that you have to build trust.
Yeah, and we talk about that quite a bit on the podcast with communication,
Mhm.
right? And so, as an entrepreneur,
As an entrepreneur, I would say the best thing you can do is build a business that can, I'm going to laugh when I say this,
that's
run by itself. I'm not there yet, but that's what
so
we're
true.
working toward
Yeah.
because uh, otherwise you get married to this job that you can't turn your back on or it'll bite you. So that is involves another level of trust, trust in your team and all that, and trust in your systems, and then your clients have to trust that all that works together too.
Yeah.
So,
Because you
um,
still have to be able to come visit your friends down in Kansas
right,
and do a 100th podcast
right,
together.
right.
Yeah. So your job has to be able to take care of that.
Yeah, and the new claim, this whole trip, the new assignments kept coming in,
Yeah.
so something has to happen, and so our team is working on those, and go team.
Yay, Team Otten claims. Woo! So, do you have a biggest mistake, either again as a claims adjuster? Because I think we've probably talked about these sorts of things, and I think it would be again for me maybe communication, where I did not communicate well with a person,
Hmm.
and it kind of imploded on me. But do you have a biggest mistake?
Yeah, I don't make many
No,
mistakes.
you're perfect. We've already discussed
No, I
that.
make a whole bunch of mistakes, and again, that would fill a book also. But I would say that um, I'll keep it simple and just say ignoring the trust factor is
Yeah.
probably the biggest mistake you'll make in your personal life and your business.
Mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I would, when we're talking about that, I mean, it sounds so normalized and everything, but the thing that you'd also want to think about as adjusters is this trust factor is being open and honest and transparent. We hear a lot about this transparency because our insureds, our claimants have no idea what's going on. They haven't read my book, Once Upon a Claim, or else they'd know. But yeah. So what still excites you about? What makes you get up in the morning and go to work?
So, as I said earlier, we see some of the craziest things that you could imagine. The stories that we have, I wish I could talk about them, but I can't because they're open files. But some of the stuff that happens is just so bananas. The stories are sad. There's never rarely any happy stories.
Mm,
I mean, if there's a bad claim and we settle it and everybody goes off into the sunset with and they can make their lives whole again, that's that's as good a story as you're going to get. Unfortunately, we deal with people who perish, and those stories, doesn't matter how much money you throw in it, those are sad stories.
yeah.
So, um, but the stories are interesting and the people are interesting. And I think that's the main reason that I like this job so much is that you're always seeing something new and meeting new people, whether they're crazies or normals or whatever.
Or your podcast partner, doesn't
Yes,
matter who.
lunatics in Kansas.
Yeah, it's crazy. Um, yeah, what about you? Where do you think the industry is headed?
I think automation is going to continue to evolve to
Mm,
this to the extent that it goes through I think, some pretty significant ripples, that there's going to be some big problems for carriers who try to overuse automation and AI. And then the ones that will win are the ones who will figure out how to blend it and mesh it properly into their business and use it as a tool instead of relying on it to solve their problems.
Yeah, and speaking of AI, what do you think? AI, how is it changing like the claims industry? What's your take on that?
So I've heard that there are some carriers who encourage all their staff to use AI for everything all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of that is they just want to see how far they can push it and see what the results might be.
Mm.
But I think there's going to be a really firm pullback from that at some point when they realize that could get out of hand kind of quick.
Yeah.
So I think it's a moving target. I think the way the models are evolving is one thing that I can't really account for because all of the things that I can think of that would go wrong, they may be able to solve that with some of these models. It's amazing how they can improve.
Yeah, yeah. And I see too when I'm talking to AI how I don't ask it the right questions
Mhm.
sometimes. And so it'll get like completely the wrong answer. And then I realize, oh, well, I just said something like define a legal contract and it'll give me the legal ease, like the lawyer version rather than the insurance version. But as humans, we both know, well, we're in insurance, we mean the insurance version.
Mhm.
But it doesn't,
It's getting better at
it is getting,
contextualizing what you're asking
yeah.
and filling those blanks in properly. I've
Mm-hmm.
noticed
Mm,
some of the more advanced models are really crazy.
yeah.
But so I don't know. I don't know what's in store. But at the end of the day, we're all human beings and dealing with other human beings. And human beings don't want to deal with machines when they're in a bad situation.
No,
So
no.
I don't think our jobs are going away.
I
They're
don't
going to
think
change, but I don't think they're going away.
I agree with you. Okay, so besides getting involved with an expert witness and teacher and author, doing a podcast in Kansas, what would you do differently? Not come to
Let's
Kansas at
see.
all?
No, no, no. What would I do differently about what? About the podcast? About
Uh,
the career?
well, I guess yeah, about ACM or your
Hmm.
career. How would you do it differently?
Um, I don't know. I don't think I would.
Mm,
I don't feel like maybe if the podcast, the one thing I might change about the podcast is to build it more like a business. And we never
mm,
did that.
no.
We've just kind of just we're just kind of talking to the
Hmm.
machine here. Um, but I think there's a lot of value in the stuff that we produce and the things that people listen to from us. The guests that we have are very valuable, and I think it would be important to spread that around a little more
Yeah.
for people in the industry because um, people who hear it for the first time, I often get comments, I never knew that, or that's an interesting thing, concept that you're talking about. So I think there's a need for it in the industry, and I think more insurance companies should know about us.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say.
And we don't really do a good job of promoting it at this stage.
We don't, and it's mostly because I'm cheap. So if anybody wants to be our producer for free, I'm all for it. But then you usually get what you pay for, so there's that too.
Maybe we need sponsors.
Yes, like Diet Coke.
Or who's the iced tea?
Oh, who's our iced tea thing? Oh, hold on.
Arnold Palmer, yeah.
Cedar Ridge, Cedar Ridge whiskey. Oops,
Put that away.
Cedar Ridge. What? It's iced tea. So anyway,
Anyway,
hi. We're all together. Yay. Um,
so where are
so
we now?
I don't know, because you know how we do these
We flipped,
things.
flipped over it.
We did, and we flipped it around, and then
I
we
think
did a
we're,
summer.
I think we're in this.
We're on closing already. That's fantastic.
I think so.
Yeah, because we've talked about ourselves long enough.
We have rambled on. So
Yes, nobody wants to hear any more of this. Everybody's fast forwarded to like, where are we going next? So,
so you've got a little script here, and I don't like reading scripts, but this is pretty much it. When we started on Clubhouse, I don't think either of us ever imagined we'd be sitting here recording episode 100.
I don't think so either.
and then you say,
And we certainly didn't imagine will still have this much more to talk about. By the way, though, I will say this. A friend of mine did send me a card, a congratulations card for our 100th episode. And she had written in there saying, not a lot of podcasts get to 100,
right,
especially when they have no listeners.
right.
Because we're still rambling into thin air. But that is quite an accomplishment and quite a feat. So yay us.
When you consider that we do this every 2 weeks, that is a pretty big accomplishment. I
Yeah.
mean, I've seen podcasts where they release 20 minutes every day. That's different.
Yeah. Yeah.
We take it seriously, and we're kind of dedicated to it.
Right.
So we think it's important.
And we do take when we get ideas from our listeners, like what about this? I think it was early 2025. We had 5 or 6 questions from one of our listeners that we went through and did that. So I mean, we do look
We
at that
we
as
joke
well.
about having no listeners,
We
but that's
have.
a disservice to the people who do listen. They number in the thousands.
Yes, they
So
do.
thank you to all
Thank
of
you.
you. Share and subscribe and like
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
post on LinkedIn and Facebook and all that stuff, because we appreciate the attention.
Yeah, and we're supposed to tease episode 101, and I actually didn't look it up.
I have no
So,
idea.
yeah, your guess is as good as mine.
Maybe we'll do an episode on iced tea.
I think we should, like what our recipes are for iced tea and how liquor liability insurance plays into it. See how I can tie everything back to insurance, y'all? Everything. We
Nice.
have our fingers in everybody's pies or cupcakes for that matter. So,
So,
we'll see y'all later.
bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Art of Adjusting podcast, where we talk about life as an insurance adjuster.
If you enjoyed this podcast or this episode, please give us 5 stars and a review. It does help the algorithm pick us up.
Hit that subscribe button real quick and tell all of your adjuster friends to check this out as well. For independent adjusting services, go to www.autin.claims. And for anyone interested in working as an independent liability adjuster, go to the Contact Us tab to join our roster.
In the meantime, you can contact me at theartofadjusting.com for consulting and training purposes.